Mysterious meat allergies for insulin users. And we got a bunch of reports coming from you guys about that. Information you need to hear. More troubling reports. Also, we have draft registration. It looks like it's going to become automatic. We have some things to say about that. Also, bump stocks and pistol braces look like they're legal again. Or they always were legal, but the government was trying to impose illegal laws. That's a little more accurate way of putting it, shall we say. And people are beginning to notice the smaller sizes and higher prices at the grocery stores. People are starting to wake up. That and more reports coming to you today. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates, your reports that you guys are sending in. We also do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people get out of stocks and bonds in their retirement portfolios and somewhat into gold and silver, or all of it into gold and silver. They can talk to you and answer your questions about whether it's right for you and what are all the specifics and details. If you reach out and contact them, you can find them down in the description down below or the link that appears on the screen at the end of the video. All right, let's start off with the bump stocks. I mean, no real practical use for the bump stocks, really. I know people are like, you know, it could be useful for something. Not really. But, you know, we should have the right to have things and not have the government come out and basically ban things just because they don't like them. And, you know, it's been demonstrated so many times again and again that you don't even need that in order to kind of get that effect, right? You just have to kind of know a few things. But anyway, bump stocks that were classified by the ATF as machine guns, a piece of plastic called a machine gun, which didn't make any sense whatsoever. And hey, we gotta admit it. Donald Trump was the one who actually did that. So that has been rightfully overturned. But pistol braces, that's been a whole shenanigan thing happening too. That pistol braces were okayed by the ATF for years and years and years, and people bought them. Yeah, I properly disposed of mine. If ATF folks are watching, I properly disposed of the ones that I had legally purchased that you then deemed to be illegal. Well, anyway, that has been overturned by a federal judge, so I guess I'm free to go out and make another purchase. But anyway, all that to say that when push comes to shove, the ATF is probably going to appeal for this again, so don't jump out there just yet, probably, unless you feel like that. Then go for it. But if you're kind of waiting for a final determination, you might want to wait to see if the ATF appeals this and if they win their appeal, because this was not too high up in the legal structure. So right now it's legal, but that could change once again, depending on what authoritarians decide to do next. All right, so the House, this is going around our circles, a lot of people talking about this. The House of Representatives has now passed a defense authorization bill, which includes automatic draft registration, instead of using the system that we have for voter registration, which is called the honor system. And we can all see how well that's been working out on that side of things. Anyway, what is little talked about is how low the compliance rates of registering for the draft have been among, let's just say, among certain ethnic minorities. Is that the DEI way of saying that these days? Certain ethnic minorities who live in large population centers have historically low compliance rates on selective service. So I know a lot of people out there are like, this is horrible. I'm kind of going, you know, having the draft, but then having the honor system seems kind of counterproductive and stupid. It's wastes a lot of resources. And on top of that, it means that people that look like me, who are younger than me, would be the ones going off and doing all the fighting. Not all the diversity of the United States going out and fighting. So I don't know. It seems to make sense to me. But anyway, this is just the House of Representatives that passed this. Now, they jammed a few few things in there that would be great if it passed that the Senate is probably going to have a problem with. So the Senate's probably going to come back with a whole bunch of amendments. They're going to strip out some of these anti-DEI things that they put in there. So basically, the Republicans over in the House, they basically went into the defense authorization bill and made it so that the Defense Department can't spend any money on diversity. Yeah, you can see how the Senate's probably not going to like that one. So they're probably going to come back and try pushing back. And so we haven't seen the final bill here yet. We've just seen the Republican version, which is basically everything the Democrats want except for like two little tiny things. And then the Democrats are going to come back and get everything they want, and they're going to get even more because that's just how Washington, D.C. seems to work. Anyway, so just to give you an idea, in some urban centers in the United States, compliance rates hover around 50% for the Selective Service registration. At 18, if you're born a male, you need to register for the draft. But even by the time they're 26, only about 50% of the people in these urban centers have actually complied with that. Now, you listen to the draft board and they say compliance rates are at 90%, which is laughable because that's not anywhere close to the real number. Sort of like how they say there's no problems with the voter registration either. No evidence to support the fact that there is a problem, right? If you cover your eyes and hum really loud, well then yes, there is no evidence for any of these things of selective service under registration or over registration of other things, which is clear as day. Anyway, so last Monday, I put out a video warning to you that Israel is moving forward with the invasion of Lebanon, and said, once again, that's probably going to happen in mid to late August or into September, but they are moving forward with that, and that noises out of Washington, D.C. is that the Biden administration is really concerned about this, and they don't want Israel to do this, and so they're starting to drop hints along the way that they think this is what's going to happen. Anyway, just yesterday, Israeli Defense Minister Gallant has just announced that he's going to be jumping on a plane and flying to Washington, D.C. for an emergency trip to discuss, among other things, the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. Yeah, it's trickling out, friends. And once again, this is going to be one of those things where people are like, it's just a bluff. They're just pretending, and the United States is just pretending, maybe to put some pressure on Hezbollah. Yeah, except the logistics tell us that it's not a bluff. The logistics are getting lined up. All these units have been getting trained for the invasion. They've got most of their units trained. They're getting their equipment pre-positioned. They're getting things ready for this invasion. And the United States is not happy with Israel doing this. And so the United States is desperately trying to talk Israel out of this. Now, if the United States gives a big enough carrot, or threatens with a big enough stick, it's possible that this may get put kiboshed, right? It might get stopped. But that remains to be seen. But right now, my money's on Israel's going to push forward with this, that the Biden administration won't have enough guts to actually stand up to Israel and stop them. I'm not saying that they should. I'm just saying Biden administration says they want Israel to stop. I don't think they have enough into it to actually stop Israel. The United States is probably going to finally just go, we recommended against it. We suggest you not do it. This is going to cause us a whole lot of fuss, but, we still support Israel or something like that. But when they go into Lebanon, expect major, major fireworks. That will be big news stories, but also it's going to reshape the Middle East. Iran is probably not going to sit on the sidelines for that. They will probably get very involved from Syria. Syria may get involved. Other countries may get involved as well. Okay, let's hop into your reports here. Lola says just got in from Costco in Baton Rouge. The meat bins were about 30% full. The pharmacy section was reduced by 2 aisles in the whole department. Prices rising, and The 6-pack of colored bell peppers went up to $9.99 a pack. I did not buy as much because I refused to pay that price. Raising Warriors. I got a number of you guys talking about this too, so this is kind of representative. Raising Warriors says, my 7-year-old just started using insulin, and the meat was making her vomit and have acidic bathroom. The doctor told her to stop eating sausage. This was never an issue before. We are still in the beginning, so her numbers aren't leveled out, but it does smell. But we noticed that it doesn't always take her down as we were told it should. So the insulin not working quite so well, and also we're seeing more of these meat allergies out there. A bunch of you guys chiming in on that, saying that you've been on insulin for a while, and then suddenly you're having issues with meat. And so we've heard speculation out there that because some of this lab-grown meat actually has, they use insulin in order to do stuff with it. Is that possibly causing a reaction? We haven't heard that this is lab-grown meat people are eating, but then again, is all the stuff we have not lab-grown meat, or is it appearing in sausage? Is it appearing in other things? I don't know. We don't have any firm data points on that, but we know that lab-grown meat apparently has gotten the authorization to be sold in the U.S. So what's going on? We don't know. But they're kind of motivated not to tell you what's in there. JL says this, file this under our crumbling infrastructure section, perhaps. Calgary, Canada's 3rd largest city by metro population, is a few days away from running out of water. That does sound troubling, doesn't it? Not because of climate change, but because of city ineptitude. The main feeder line, which supplies 60% of the water to the city, burst a couple days ago. Originally, they said it would take a week and asked everyone to just conserve some water. We're all in this together, etc. Kind of love that. We're all in this together. Meanwhile, the rich people are like getting cases of water at their house, right? You know, sure we are. Anyway, they'll throw us off the boat to the sharks first chance they get, I promise you. Now, after today's update, they admitted, not 1 week, the problem is even worse than they thought, and now we're looking at 2 months. So 1 week becomes 2 months. You can tell a government is running this thing. All because successive city councils have declined to invest the money needed in our crumbling infrastructure and instead keep kicking the can down the road. But strangely, there seems to be lots of money to sponsor pride events. Well, I mean, it is June, and, you know, that's where most of the budget should go, isn't it? To give themselves, and also to give themselves raises every few years. Well, of course, should definitely pay the people making decisions lots and lots more money. This is from Shore Skeptic. Ocean City, New Jersey. Went to the bank, Ocean first, yesterday to withdraw cash from for my fund, my home fund. They did not ask any questions, but the teller stated that they were out of 100s. How does a bank run out of 100s? I've been hearing that a lot, that they're really moving everyone over to 50s as much as they can. But with inflation the way it is, 50s are the new 20s. And this is one of the things I saw over in India when they phased out their currency, that they pushed everyone to small bills, and by doing that, it just made it super inconvenient for everybody, and there just wasn't enough small bills to go around, so everyone got kind of forced into using cell phone payment plans, cell phone payments and such. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Federal Reserve is kind of wanting to do that too, is basically force everyone down to using smaller bills, and as inflation takes up and those bills become worthless and more and worthless, that you kind of get squeezed over to making payments via your cell phones and credit cards and such. That's my thought. Let me know what you guys think down below. Kay says Five Below, which is a store, right, is now selling things up to $25. It was named Five Below because everything in there was $5 and less, right? But now they're selling things up to $25. Yeah. Things are changing, friends. W says, I have never seen such a bad year for apples and pears in my orchard. This is in Washington State. Bees do not pollinate due to our cold, wet weather. I do not know how orchards are faring on the east side of our state, east of the mountains, but Washington State is the #1 producer of apples and many pears. An apple shortage would be a nationwide problem. Sales statistics refer to apples coming out of cold storage. Still, from the 2023 crop, we haven't seen any 2024 crop yet. Realistic harvest projections for 2024 will not be available for a while yet, but we will keep our eye on that for sure. So there may be apple issues. A lot of those apples get put on ships and sent over to China and other places for processing and come back as applesauce and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, N says, they asked for anonymity. So N says, I have had type 1 diabetes for 33 years. I am a medical doctor and practicing physician. Measuring insulin efficiency is very difficult because there are so many variables that can affect it. I believe that over the past few years, the efficacy has changed. It will not lower glucose as rapidly or to extremely low levels. Speculating on the reasons why this has occurred are also very difficult. Price caps with subsequent decrease in quality, transportation, and storage issues, or just new variation in pharmaceutical delivery to prevent hypoglycemia are all possible reasons. I believe this is real news. This is coming from a medical doctor, friends, practicing physician. I believe this is real news, and there has been a change. Thanks for reporting. We're keeping you on the cutting edge because you guys are sending in cutting edge reports out there. No one else is talking about this anywhere, only here. And hopefully we're getting this conversation started, and hopefully more people will be talking about this, and answers will actually be gotten and protections put in place for the people who need that insulin. Roberta says, I fell off the organic bandwagon yesterday and bought a package of tater tots at Dollar General. Now that's always a dangerous proposition right there, and buying stuff from Dollar General. But the bag seemed less full than in prior years. When I opened it, each piece was the size of a thimble and not the size of a tater tot. You all know what a tater tot should look like, and yeah, not that small. I do realize that Dollar General has deals with manufacturers to make smaller products, with Dove soap being smaller for about a decade. People don't read labels like we lab people do, but this has to be noticed by the public at large. That is, unless they've been gradually decreasing in size over a period of time, which of course I missed. Well, welcome back from the land of organics. Maybe because you found out what's going on top of the organic crops. Anyway, CR says, went to the grocery store, large chain, Price Chopper. They only had 3 green bell peppers and they were all soft and wrinkled. Went to the deli to get roast beef and they had none. It did not come in. They ordered it, but they did not receive it. Things are getting real everywhere. J8 says, for those who ferment, I use spring water to make my water kefir. Crystal spring water I bought at Food Lion destroyed my kefir grains in a single ferment. Conclusion, chloramine or some other nasty is being added to the bottled spring water. If your kombucha or other ferments are not working, it may be your water. You might need to go over distilled water because, yeah, even spring water, they can put stuff in there legally. All right, friends, if you didn't check out my video, it's a heavy, hard-hitting video on what it's like to survive a hostage situation, talking you through some of the thoughts and such like that over on my other channel called Poplar Prepper. We have more practical stuff over there. I've been trained for hostage survival and stuff like that, so I'm passing along some of that information. Also, interrogation resistance. If you want to know how to outlast an interrogator, I also talk about that over there. That's that video right up there. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right here. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.